It's day one of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and it comes amid a lot of anxiousness. China's economy slowing. Many of the world leaders who are no-shows at the Swiss ski resort, Donald Trump, Theresa May, Emmanuel Macron among them. Brexit also on the menu. Let's turn to business editor Stephen Carroll. Stephen, you taking your vitamins?
I'd want to have this year for Davos, as always, the snow, the first topic of conversation people have when they arrive here. But Brexit being another big issue that people are talking about here already, even only as the event gets underway this evening. We had Christine Lagarde from the IMF speaking here earlier, unveiling the International Monetary Fund's latest economic forecast and saying that a no-deal Brexit could wipe 5 to 8 points off British GDP in the long term, although their baseline scenario is still that a deal will eventually be done, but of course the political uncertainty is still huge around that. That's one of the things people are talking about here. The theme of this year's Davos is globalization 4.0. A lot of people also trying to figure out exactly what that means, the idea being refounding the international system to adapt to changes, not only technological changes, but also this rising fear that people feel like they've been left behind by a system of elites. Lots of studies published on the first day of Davos, as always. Some interesting results, somewhat complementary, in fact. A survey by the global PR company Edelman saying that 70% of people they surveyed, over 30,000 of them that they surveyed around the world, saying that they feel a sense of injustice. Then we had a survey from the World Economic Forum saying that basically despite that, people still overwhelmingly believe in an international cooperation and in countries working together to solve global problems. We always have on the first day of Davos figures from Oxfam. They're as striking as ever on inequality. 26 people holding the same wealth as over 3.5 billion people in the world. Pretty shocking figures. I've been talking to Winnie, who's the executive director of Oxfam International, about this and about whether or not she feels that those people here in Davos are hearing the message that they're bringing, that the inequality is simply too high.
A festival of wealth. Many billionaires are here, they've flown in on their private jets, but it's very important that I too come here for Oxfam on my economy seat because we have an important message to give to them, which is that widening gap between the rich and the poor is dividing us as people, is fueling public anger, poisoning our politics. It is also slowing our economies. In fact, the World Bank has itself said that if this wide inequality isn't reduced, by 2030, we will have 200 million people still living in extreme poverty because this kind of inequality traps people in poverty. They have also said that 100 million people are driven into poverty every year because they do not have access and cannot afford healthcare. 100 million. And you know what? 10,000 people die every single day because they don't have access to healthcare. 10,000 daily today. 262 million children are not in school because their countries cannot provide free education. Meanwhile, the same governments are giving a pass to rich people. They are not taxing their inheritance. They are not taxing their money. They are not taxing their property. They are giving them a pass and depriving poor children of an education. This is unacceptable and it's not inevitable. So I come here to tell the governments to do the right thing and to tell rich people to behave well and pay their taxes and not hide their money.
In France, that's been particularly controversial recently. We had the government reform the wealth tax. Lots of people feel like that's a gift to the rich. Will you be telling governments here that they must reinstate wealth taxes?
Absolutely. I wish President Macron was coming. I hear he's not. But he needs to be here to hear the Oxfam message, which is that people need their education, people need their health, people need decent living wages, people need social protection. We don't need to give a pass to rich companies and rich individuals. They can pay their fair share and economies can still grow. The IMF tells us that there is enough space to tax wealthy people, companies, to still have strong economies. You see, there is a misguided view amongst some leaders and some business people who argue that lower taxes will increase growth. Today, the IMF is saying no to that. In fact, to have a strong economy, you need well-educated, healthy people, you need good infrastructure, strong communications, and the rule of law. If you don't have these, and you must pay for these through taxes, you will not have strong and growing economies. So it's a matter of economic efficiency, and it's a matter of the rights of people. You can choose, if you're a government leader, to give everybody a bright future, a life of dignity, or you can choose to manage economies for a few, to be super wealthy, to go to space and to do that. And I'm here to tell them that, look, to make the right choices, give everybody a decent life.
That's Winnie Byanyima from Oxfam International speaking to me there. The big highlight tomorrow, Francois, will be President Bolsonaro of Brazil. He's speaking here at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
All right, many thanks. Stephen Carroll. We'll hear more from Stephen in our upcoming editions.